So this is probably the most unique rod in my setup. This is the Legend Glass series. This is the 7'11" heavy blank. It's fairly light for a glass blank. It's still glass, so it's kind of heavy. So what I did is I broke my Tatula flipping rod I had a few years ago, and I made a two-piece rod out of it. So it came to, is it 9 foot 3 inches total? Yeah, that's the handle. So I made it to two-piece. I reinforced the blank right here with thread, as you can see. That way it doesn't split down here. Use the guides from that rod too. It was a pretty cheap build. I got the blank from Mudhole. I had like some percentage off, stuff like that, and works out pretty good because I broke this rod when it was a flipping rod. I broke it in my truck door a few years ago, and then to kind of put it back together, I took some threaded metal rod and I put it in there, then epoxied it, and it actually made the rod feel a lot better. It was super balanced and stuff like that. So now that's actually helping balance out this really long, because from the reel forward I got about 8 feet of fiberglass out there, so it balances out pretty good. Although balance isn't super important with the crank rod because I crank tip down, but it still makes it feel a lot better. The reel I'm using is a 2012 Shimano Antares, the 5.6. So the only, well, I got the Aldebaran BFS, but it's only Shimano reel other than that I have in my lineup. It's super smooth, casts really far. It can get kind of squirrely at the wind if you're throwing like some odd crankbaits and stuff like that, but for what I'm using it for, I really like it. I did put a longer handle on here too. I forget how long it is. I think it's like a 94 millimeter, whatever the Chronarch, the new Chronarch XG handle is. That's the one I put on here. Because the other one was, it was a pretty small handle, which I didn't like. I got plenty of power, cast far. I like it a lot. But this is the taper. It's kind of a funky taper to it. Seeing how I extended it, it doesn't have a true taper to it, but I caught, I think it was like probably about a 14-inch smallmouth with it. I was cranking about 15 feet of water, and it had decent sensitivity. I'm used to cranking with like, fiberglass or composite, so I had to get used to that. But you definitely know if there's a fish on there, or like you're hitting some rocks. You can't tell it like a graphite rod, but I knew that going into it. Huge glass rod. I knew I wasn't getting sensitivity, but it allows me to launch the crankbaits out there. You get a pretty good cast with it. Also, next to the boat, I was purposely letting that fish, that one smallmouth, just dig underneath the boat, and I couldn't lose the fish. It just kept digging and digging, and the rod was absorbing a lot of that. The line I'm using on here as well is, I think I'm using a 10-pound Seaguar Red Label I'm using on here. Still, I got some more line I'm going to put on here, but I was just going to let this keep going. It's been treating me well. I don't care about the sensitivity. It doesn't have much memory on there. I mean, it does a little bit, but it's been treating me well. I haven't had snap-offs or anything like that, so I just keep going with it. But I only caught about, I don't know, 5 fish with this rod so far, and I've been liking it. Transport can be kind of a pain. The two-piece, so you gotta keep the reel connected to the rod, so you gotta pop it out, and it fits in my truck, but just something you gotta be cognizant of, so you're not dragging the reel around and stuff like that just by grabbing the rod. But don't forget to subscribe, comment below. I know there's probably be some questions about this rod. I know it's a new blank. I had to do some research on it. There wasn't much out there. I know Extreme Angler, Carl Kalanka, he was using a few of the different glass rods, but there wasn't much. There's info on it, but it was just more so watching him fish it, and he was kind of talking about it. But on the heavy one, I saw there's a guy is from Europe. He's catching a huge catfish on it too. That's what really made me think, oh wow, that rod's pretty durable, and I got a little bit of backbone, but